Breaking news this hour. Police have identified the man killed at Scarborough Town Centre earlier this week. And for the very latest, CP24's Melissa Duggan is live outside the mall. And Melissa, this started as a suspicious death, but now it's a homicide. What is this latest that we got from police?
Yeah, that's right, Seja. So initially, it wasn't clear kind of the circumstances that led to this young person being found dead in a bathroom here at Scarborough Town Centre. But what we can confirm to you now, Toronto police just releasing an update moments ago saying that this investigation has been handed over to the homicide unit. And they've also identified the victim in this case. Initially, he was reported as a man in his 20s. Now we know he is this man, 19 years old, Daniel Amalathas of Toronto, just being identified by Toronto police this afternoon. What we can tell you is that police were called to the mall around 2 o'clock on Thursday afternoon after a man was found dead along with a firearm in a washroom. Police recovering that firearm from the scene here at the Scarborough Town Centre.
And a new lead in this homicide investigation. Police have released images of a vehicle that may be connected to the shooting that killed 8-year-old Javé Roy in North York.
Investigators say they're still looking for this car. It's believed to be a white Acura. Police have not released any information on where or when it was last seen, but they are asking anybody with information about the vehicle to come forward.
8-year-old Javé Roy was in bed with his mom back on Saturday, August 16th, when shots were fired toward their building on Martha Eaton Way in the Black Creek and Trothui Drive area. The boy was struck by a stray bullet. You see the hole there in the window. He was rushed to hospital where he later died.
Well, crews are now combing the water near Bluffers Park for any sign of a person who police say might have fallen off of a jet ski in the area.
For the very latest on the search effort, let's go live to CP24's Arda Zakarian, who's at Bluffers Park this morning. Arda, almost 12 hours now since this happened. Obviously, the search must be pretty dire at this point.
Yes, so this happened around 9:21 in the evening. Already it was very dark out, and Marine crews as well as the Coast Guard, they were searching until well into the morning. They stopped their search at 4:40 this morning and are resuming it right around now. Now we are seeing the Coast Guard here on the water heading over to where this happened, and we are told by the Toronto police that this happened near the east side of Bluffers Park. A 16-year-old girl is in custody after a woman in her 80s was stabbed in Scarborough. Police and paramedics were called to a home on Pitfield Road near McCowan and Shepherd after 1:30. They found the victim and arrested the teen who lives in the same home, but not saying how they know each other.
When officers responded, they found a victim with significant injuries. That victim was transported by paramedics to a hospital with life-threatening injuries. Officers did locate a suspect and arrested that suspect a short distance away. We are not looking for any additional suspects.
I came out and I saw the lady standing there in her driveway, and I just walked up and down the street, and when I came back out, I saw her getting taken away and the paramedics. Yeah, and then the police came and they were putting up the yellow tape. So I'm not too sure what happened, but she was injured badly.
Police say the teen is charged with aggravated assault and assault with a weapon.
Good morning. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Before I begin, I would like to start by acknowledging friends and families of the victims. Losing a loved one is always a challenging and painful time, and under these circumstances, even more so. On behalf of the Barrie Police Service, I offer you our deepest condolences. I want to reassure our community that this appears to be an isolated occurrence. We are not looking for any additional suspects, nor do we believe that there are additional victims. However, as was mentioned, this remains an ongoing investigation, and if any information comes forward that leads investigators to believe there are additional suspects, victims, or criminal events, those will absolutely be addressed. Barrie is a safe community. Incidents like this are shocking and understandably shake our community, but they are exceedingly rare. Investigators are working closely with many other areas of our service to ensure that these tragic events are thoroughly and meticulously investigated, and that the individual responsible for these acts is held responsible. give a short recap of the past few weeks. On July 30th, the Barrie Police Service received information that led investigators to the area of Victoria Street, John Street, and N Street South in relation to an ongoing missing person investigation. Additional scenes in Huntsville, as well as a residence in North Simcoe County, were also included in this investigation. As officers searched these areas, significant evidence was recovered, including suspected human remains. On Friday, August 1st, Barrie Police named a 52-year-old male as the suspect, and the male was arrested on Saturday, August 2nd in Midland with the assistance of the Ontario Provincial Police with RFAs. At that time, 19 criminal charges were laid, including multiple counts related to careless use, unauthorized possession, and unsafe storage of firearms, possession of a firearm with ammunition, dangerous operation of a motor vehicle, and flight from a peace officer. On Thursday, August 14th, additional charges were laid, including murder in the second degree, murder in first degree, indignity to a dead body, 2 counts, as well as firearms, drug, and drug trafficking charges. On August 8th, the Barrie Police Service released the scene on Ann Street South back to the property owner, the City of Barrie, who remain on scene as the cleanup and remediation continues. The past few weeks have been a difficult and challenging time for our community. I'd like to thank the public for their patience as we work through the necessary investigative steps. We know that there is a desire for more information and transparency, while still ensuring that the integrity of the investigation remains the foremost concern, so that the justice process can be carried out effectively. Please be assured that we will always let the public know if there is a potential risk to public safety. And we will continue to provide media releases when significant information is to be shared, such as when additional charges were laid on August 14th. Thank you to the members of the Barrie Police Service who have been involved in this investigation, especially our Investigative Services Division, who you will hear from today. This has been an around-the-clock investigation which has required significant contributions from all areas of the service. Your dedication is appreciated. I'll now ask Sergeant Brett Carlton to speak to the details that are able to be shared to you at this point.
Thank you, Chief Johnson. What began as a missing person investigation in January of this year was grown into one of the largest investigations Barrie Police have ever had. Numerous criminal code search warrants have been prepared and executed during this investigation, which have supported 33 criminal charges that the accused now faces. With any criminal investigation, the bravery and courage of witnesses to come forward adds valuable insight to the case being built. I want to acknowledge our sincere appreciation to all those who assisted and come forward to assist our officers with the investigation. These were not random murders. The accused and victims were known to one another and all lived in the encampment on Ann Street at some point in time. William Blake Robinson was last in contact with his family on January 18th. He was reported missing to police on February 10th. David Kyle Cheesequay was reported missing the end of July. We also do not believe at this time that there are additional victims. However, this remains an ongoing investigation, and if other suspects or other victims are identified through the investigation, we will absolutely follow up with those leads.
A man charged in a head-on crash that killed a father of 3 in Whitchurch-Stouffville earlier this month is expected to make a court appearance later today.
The collision on Highway 48 near Aurora Road left Andrew Cristillo dead. His wife and daughters were also injured. 18-year-old Jaywin Kiru Benathan is charged with dangerous driving causing death, dangerous driving causing bodily harm, and making a false statement to police. He's also been charged in a crash on Highway 401 back in January with a vehicle that was carrying Premier Doug Ford. The Premier was not hurt in that crash.
Negotiations between Canada Post and the Canadian Union of Postal Workers are off once again.
Well, talks were supposed to resume on Friday, but Canada Post wanted more time to review the latest offers put forward by the union, so they were pushed to today. Well, Cup W says it was informed yesterday that the Crown Corporation is still reviewing their proposals, and today's planned talks, they were scrapped. No other meetings have been scheduled. Now, bargaining has been ongoing for more than a year and a half.
Toronto police officer has pleaded guilty to assault and careless use of a firearm in the shooting that left a man, Devin Fallon, seriously injured in early 2023. In February of that year, officers were called to a park in the area of Black Creek Drive in Trethewey for a report of a man with a knife. Now, according to an investigation from the Special Investigations Unit, 2 officers discharged tasers at the man, while another officer, Constable Andrew Davis, fired his gun twice. Now, today we're learning more about the series of events that lead to the guilty plea and who is speaking out on behalf of the victim. Now, for more on this, we're joined by CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan. Of course, you were an officer for a long time. In that situation, what's supposed to happen?
So let's start with when police are authorized by law to use lethal force. And that is if there's an imminent threat of death or grievous bodily harm to themselves or to somebody else. If an individual is harming themselves and there is no other person around, the expectation and the training is that you de-escalate that situation. So in this particular instance back in February of 2023, as you said, somebody reported to the police that a man was in a parkette near Trethewey and Black Creek by himself waving a large knife in the air. 5 officers arrived on scene. They could see a large knife in a sheath in the man's belt. They ordered him to the ground. He did not obey those orders. He took out the knife and put it to his own throat. Then he began to walk backwards. He was tased twice. There was no effect to the taser because he had on a large coat. It was wintertime. One of the officers that responded then shot him twice. The SIU investigated the incident and then charged that officer with aggravated assault and discharged a firearm. The man was treated in hospital for his injuries as a result of being shot and a deep laceration to his throat. So the Toronto police then conducted their own internal investigation as well. And as a result of the criminal charges that were laid, they found that the officer acted improperly and would charge him under the Police Act. That'll be dealt with after the criminal charges were laid. And today, the officer pled guilty to assault, bodily harm, and careless use of a firearm.
Right. And so what's the lesson there? Do you agree with that? That he just kind of acted, not according to the book, but too hastily in this situation?
Well, that was the finding of the SIU when they laid the charge, and the officer pled guilty today. So if there is no threat to anybody else, and if you are harming yourself, you have to de-escalate that situation. You cannot just use lethal force. I get it, it's easy to be an armchair quarterback, but the law is the law, and it's there for a reason. You can't just take out a gun and shoot somebody who has a knife to their own throat, and there's nobody else in the park. That's why the charges were laid. The officer pled guilty today. He'll be sentenced in October, and at 3 o'clock, we're going to have body cam footage of the incident that was released by the courts.
In terms of the sentencing, also in terms of his job, will he be fired? Is the grounds for termination suspended with pay? Is that something we still have to wait for?
Have to wait. So he has been suspended right now. Now, given the fact that he pled guilty today, the Police Act charges have to be dealt with, and then it will be up to the chief and the command and the Police Service Board to determine the future of that officer's employment. All
right. And again, 3 o'clock, we'll have the body cam footage. We'll definitely show, the play-by-play kind of go along with what you've been describing. All right, Steve, thanks so much, as always.
Downtown in Little Italy, 2 people are in hospital after a stabbing on a streetcar. Let's go live to CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan, who's at the scene with the latest. What do we know so far?
Yeah, Jamie, Bathurst College is the location. The scene appears to be this streetcar right here, which is obviously stopped facing eastbound and happened at 8:40 this morning. And before I get into what we're told, maybe Albert can swing around and I'll show you a knife that is in the parking lot on the south side of College in Bathurst. You can see it next to evidence marker number 4 right there. That's going to remain there with the security of the police, of course, until such time that the forensic officers are able to photograph that and catalog it, and that'll be seized and tested for any sort of DNA or trace evidence. So this happened at 8:25 this morning. We are told that a man and a woman, both in their 40s, were stabbed by a guy in his 30s. Now, and that man is now in custody. The man and the woman are in hospital where they are being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. So we don't know the motive, nor do we know the relationship between either of the three individuals. That's all part of this investigation. But this intersection has been tied up for quite some time this morning, and it will remain so until such time that the police are able to collect all of their evidence, make sure nothing has been missed, and once they're satisfied that all of the evidence at this crime scene has been seized, then the scene will be released. And we are waiting for an update from police to learn what the motive was and to learn if there was a relationship between any of or all three of those people. But that's the latest for now. One person in custody, no threat to public safety, and a man and a woman in hospital, both in their 40s. I'll send it back to you.
Thanks for the update, Steve. And TTC CEO Mandeep Lally released a statement about the stabbing that reads in part, "The safety of everyone on our system is paramount. I have reached out to Toronto Police to offer our full support as they investigate this incident. While the circumstances leading to this are under investigation, I share everyone's concerns when something like this happens on TTC property. We extend our thoughts to the victims and anyone who witnessed it. We encourage anyone with information to share it with police."
Premier Doug Ford says that his government plans to introduce legislation to ban experimental testing on dogs and cats. Ford made the announcement this morning after whistleblowers with the group Animal Justice. They raised concerns about dogs being tested for cardiac research at the Lawson Research Institute at St. Joseph Healthcare in London. It led to a University of Toronto investigation, which claimed the dogs, mostly puppies, are used for tests and killed before their internal organs were removed for further examination.
You can't be experimenting on dogs. They're part of our families, or cats. You know, go with the mice, go with the rats, no problem. But these are pets, and no, it's done. You can't do it anymore. Now I'm going to start looking for everyone else. If there's anyone else out there that's doing this to animals, come clean, because we're going to catch you. And it's just terrible. You can tell I'm an animal lover, but it's just terrible what they're doing.
And the Lawson Research Institute announced that it was ending all testing on dogs following the U of T investigation.
The TTC is set to consider a report next month that suggests replacing monthly passes with a fare capping system. Fare capping works by making trips free after a passenger takes a certain amount of rides in a calendar month. This report recommends capping fares after either 40, 44, or 47 rides. It says the system is simple for passengers to use and gives them the same price certainty as a monthly pass without the upfront cost. An adult monthly pass costs $156 right now. Fare capping is already being used by other transit agencies in the GTA, including GO Transit. For more reaction to the fare capping proposal, we're joined live by TTC Riders Executive Director Andrew. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Tell me more about your thoughts on this.
We're thrilled to see TTC staff are recommending fare capping instead of a monthly pass. It's something that we've been calling for several years. The TTC actually endorsed this theory in principle in 2022. It shouldn't have taken this long for them to put something forward, and we hope that the TTC board and inevitably City Council votes in favor of fare capping. It's just a common sense solution for transit riders.
Does the TTC, you think, end up losing money this way, or does it work out to be even by the end of it?
It depends on the level of the cap. If it's capped at a 1-to-1 ratio, we hope that they don't lose too much money, but it's really about making transit more affordable for transit users.
Yeah, right, and more accessible, more people using transit, getting the city moving. I guess that's the whole point of all of this. Tell me what you've been hearing reaction from people.
Well, people are really excited about this. I mean, it's being looked at as a way to grow ridership on transit as well. If you have a card that you have to buy 10 sandwiches and your 11th sandwich is free, you're going to want to buy those 10 sandwiches first, more quickly. So we're really hopeful that it'll inspire people to go back onto public transit.
I guess it's an incentive at the very end of it as well.
Absolutely.
So tell me what you think about this in general and your thoughts on this being implemented. It seems to be working for GO Transit, for example.
Yeah, and other jurisdictions too across Canada. York region has fare capping. Ottawa just started it in August. Hamilton has it. Some places actually have fare capping where the cap is weekly instead of monthly, which is also super great for transit users. We're really excited to see this roll out, and it's something that so many other jurisdictions do to quite a good effect.
Have the people that you've been speaking to say that buying a monthly pass at $156 a month, that's not as affordable for them, that they've been complaining about how high the price is?
Well, exactly. I mean, you have to pay for a monthly pass on the first of the month, the same time that your rent is due. And a lot of people make that choice not to put forward that large upfront cost because they need to afford their rent or they need to afford groceries for that month. This is so much better for people in that kind of situation.
Okay, thank you so much for this, Andrew. We appreciate it. TTC Riders Executive Director, Andrew.
Welcome back. One person is in hospital following a stabbing in Etobicoke this afternoon.
It happened around 1:30 in the area of Kipling Avenue and the Westway. Police say they were initially called for a fight at a residence, but upon arrival, they located a male victim suffering from stab wounds. He was taken to hospital. The extent of his injuries are unknown. Another male was arrested at the scene. He was also taken to hospital with injuries.
We're going to get a better picture today of just how our economy is faring given the impact of tariffs. Statistics Canada will release gross domestic product data for June and for the second quarter as a whole later today. Early estimates has the growth rate flatlined at 0, bracing for the impact of tariffs and businesses and consumer uncertainty. The first quarter did show a 2.2% increase. This was as companies tried to get ahead of the looming tariff deadlines.